joining us. I know social selling has been quite the hot topic over the last few years. We were fortunate to power TikTok's fulfillment solution as the only provider for quite a while, and so that gave us a pretty unique vantage point into the TikTok ecosystem, and they've really driven forward social selling, and I think kind of educated, I give them actually a ton of credit, they've kind of educated Western buyers really how to buy, how they did in the East often, again, through social, through lives, and when we were building this with TikTok, a partner of ours that we saw very quickly, which was Orca, where Lauren is a co-founder of, we started working with them very closely early on, and they've been really on the forefront from the marketing and the demand gen side, and so it's just been such a great partnership to be able to work very closely with you guys, and then a lot of the brands that we are fortunate to work with collectively. And so if you want to jump in, tell us what Third is, and maybe a little bit about the acquisition from Orca.
Yeah, for sure. This is working? I think so.
You're good.
Thanks for having me, Casey. Excited to be here representing Third. Third is a modern commerce growth company. So we work with brands and help them discover and scale on new emerging platforms. Let's help them find new sales channels wherever they may be, wherever the consumers are, through social commerce, content creators. So we work with brands like Mars, Mr. Beast, Estee Lauder, really across all categories, and help them with their social commerce strategy, whether it's on TikTok Shop, which is what we'll probably talk a lot about today, because that is really where the most action's happening, but also Whatnot, eBay Live, Amazon's back in the mix, Meta's coming back. There's just a lot of activity right now in the space. And as you mentioned, I was originally co-founder and chief content officer of Orca, but today I'm here with Third. I'm not here alone. We have Chad Hetherington, our CEO, is here, Matt Swanson from our team, and if you've never seen live shopping IRL, we are set up in the main hall, the exhibition hall, and we're going live with the hair care brand It's a 10, which is a partner of ours, as well as ShipBobs, so feel free to check that out, and we'll even throw you on camera if you want.
Yes, I highly recommend checking that out. It's in Expo Hall right now, and I know they're going to be streaming later as well. So they have It's a 10. I know you guys work really closely with Elf Beauty as well, who's spoke yesterday and speaking again today. So let's jump into it. I know one of the things I love that you guys were doing at Orca, and I know we'll continue with Third is really helping drive a lot of awareness and education in the social selling space from the events that you guys do as well, which we've been able to participate with you guys. Last year it was really around like, what is social selling? This year is really like, well, how do you optimize and grow? What do you think has driven that shift, and what were some of the bigger themes that you saw come out from that?
Yeah, it's wild. So when I started in this business of social commerce 5.5 years ago, the only place that you could do live shopping, for example, was Amazon Live. It was a very quiet place. There were a few people in there, our mothers, and we were just selling whatever products, best sellers we could get our hands on. TikTok Shop still didn't exist 3 years ago. When TikTok Shop launched 2.5 years ago, the only things you could buy to start were wigs, and I don't know if anyone remembers these days, but wigs and crystals and grab bags of $9.99 for 25 pieces of makeup, right? Consumers were not ready to put their credit card down. Established brands did not know that this would be a viable channel, and I think the whole concept of sort of live shopping and social commerce was looked at as it might just be a fad. Like, it works, yes, it works in Asia and China and with ByteDance, but is it going to work in the US? And then flash forward to today, in less than 3 years, TikTok Shop is projected to do $23 billion, more than $23 billion in the US alone. That is more than Target this year. So they have just come a long way and come a long way very quickly. And I think that the success that we've seen with now Ulta and just huge brands and retailers, Target coming soon, I believe, onto the platform, it's not only evolved and maturing on TikTok Shop, but across the larger social commerce ecosystem. And we're seeing other platforms pour in a lot of investment and build out new tools very quickly.
So we've talked about this in a couple sessions where leading up to, maybe call it around 2020 or so, a huge part of the play was these brands, or maybe a little bit after 2021. It was really, you launch on Shopify, you pump a bunch of ads into like basically the Meta platform, and you could really focus on like one channel. Obviously, retail adds a lot of complexity, and I believe Nish will join us in a little bit and talk about that element. But now with all these social channels, you're really being these viable channels to drive growth, there's really the balance of, is this worth my time or is this a distraction? And so we're gonna dive into some of the nuances into the different channels, but just to help everybody here think through like prioritization, what do you think that TikTok got right that other really large platforms with crazy reach and really strong engineering talent, such as YouTube, Instagram, what did TikTok get right that they got wrong?
A number of things, although it's been very clunky, and anyone that is working with TikTok Shop knows that it continues to be a roller coaster ride, right? We're dropping new information, new tools all the time. Their team comes and goes. It's an interesting place to be. We all know about a couple months ago when they emailed every single merchant on the platform and told them they had to start using FBT within a month or they'd be gone, and then they rolled that back a week later. So it's interesting. But in terms of what they've done right, they've done a lot. I think that the affiliate program, and maybe we'll talk about this further later, but it is massive, it is incredibly powerful, and they made it very accessible to creators and brands very early on. Whereas YouTube, for example, for a creator to sell as an affiliate on YouTube, up until very recently, you needed 10,000 subscriptions or subscribers to be able to sell. They've recently dropped that down to 500 because they just need more people engaged and participating in this ecosystem. So
is that driving more adoption though? I mean, they make the change, but are people actually using that as a viable channel?
It is not one of the ones that we speak about the most right now, I would say. Everybody's still waiting. I think they'll come around and they'll figure it out, and they're making some smart moves. And again, we're seeing Meta come back now with their live video ads. Really interesting. It's live shopping, but still takes you off platform. So I think TikTok, everything is still closed loop. It's so seamless. So and really, they have the discoverability that nobody else has. It even comes close to. So I think that is the biggest win they've got. Is like, they go straight from discoverability to click to buy in one scroll, and it can all happen right there, very seamless.
Awesome. And making his entrance, no big deal, Nish Mantre, the CEO and co-founder of Array. So Nish, if you want to give a quick introduction about yourself and tell us what Array is, and then we're going to jump right into it.
Really excited to be here. Casey, thank you for having me. I'm one of the founders of a company called Array. We do targeted supplements for unsexy problems. We started the company about 6 years ago. I co-founded it with my wife. We're originally Canadian, moved to LA, and we're really excited to be here.
Yes, well thanks for joining us. And we got to spend quite a bit of time yesterday together and diving into many topics, including what it's like co-founding and running a very fast-growing, scaling business with your wife. So definitely some interesting conversations. I want to get into maybe some real specifics on, starting with TikTok. So Nish, when you guys launched with TikTok, because you guys had some very, very early success, and I know your views of TikTok has evolved quite a bit. What was the initial plan when you guys launched with TikTok in regards to what is the product you're going to go live with and how you're going to go about it?
I think for us initially it was just about kind of catching momentum because it was so new and we just saw companies doing really, really well on it. And so initially, I remember kind of seeing brands like Grow Nanda, which was putting up some crazy numbers, and there was not really like a real way to have a playbook to figure the whole thing out. But that's when you know something's early and it's working. And so our goal was, okay, how do we kind of catch this as quickly as possible? And the whole advantage was that you're early. One of our hero products back then was MV1, and that was a product that we had on the platform that went really, really viral. And we just kind of really focused on sampling to as many creators as possible, and it was as simple as that, and it just happened to work.
When you, so your MB1 product, which is your like GLP-1, I guess.
Like, it's a natural metabolism product, and so is GLP-1 adjacent in the sense that it helps with certain mechanisms that help with curbing cravings, giving you energy, increasing your metabolic burn, and just like things like that that are what people who take GLP-1s kind of want.
And so, did you launch purposefully? Did you launch with a whole catalog and you saw one product go viral? Did you launch with just the hero product and wanted to double down on that? What was that approach?
No, we actually had the whole catalog on there, but MB1 just happened to go viral. We were actually sampling all of our products, specifically Bloat and MB1, equally, and MB1 was the one that went really viral.
And then on day one also, were you guys heavily using the sampling solution built in with TikTok, if they even had that at the time? Or
No, they did not. They actually did not have a sampling solution at the time.
Okay.
So what we had to do is email all the creators manually, and the very first team, they actually had like herds of interns who would kind of do this.
You guys did?
Yeah. We being also one of them. Yes, yeah. We also had.
We
I
did
think
too.
you did too, right? Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Pick, pack, and ship for,
Yeah.
for Blue Bottle Coffee, for all these different brands. There was no affiliate center.
Right.
There's no way to track anything. Extremely manual.
Well, I want to get into the affiliate and the outreach stuff in a sec, because I know that they've improved the platforms quite a bit, and I know you guys are scaling that pretty considerably. But I think with TikTok, what's interesting is they really, from day one, really focused on reviews as a signal because they wanted quality, especially because the stuff that they were selling initially was a lot of junk. They focused really tightly, and still do, on the fulfillment experience because they saw the success Amazon had. And then it seemed very quickly they've just invested so heavily into affiliate. So I'm sure there are other factors as well, but it really seems like those are like the three core pillars. And then with YouTube, it seemed like the one thing that they really tried to emulate, you can tell me how good of a job they did, was building out some part of that affiliate structure within YouTube. But then it's just, I don't know if it dies on the vine. Like, why do you think YouTube is like the original, video platform? And so curious, like, why you think some of that has not really taken off as a viable channel?
Yeah, it definitely, they're still behind. We love them, we talk to them often, and look for different opportunities. And I think that, again, for a long time, it just wasn't even accessible for creators to get in there unless they were top tier creators, right? So these are people that have been on the platform for a long time. It's harder to break into YouTube today than it is as a creator on TikTok. You can get to thousands and thousands of viewers much faster because it's a newer channel, right? Instagram and YouTube are notoriously a little bit more mature, a little harder to break through and build your first audience. So I think that they were having a hard time they got a bunch of brands on, but they couldn't activate that affiliate community because the ones that did have enough subs we're used to getting paid a lot of money to do a post. And I think that's one of the biggest differences we're seeing in what the affiliate community and what we call commerce creators versus traditional influencers and creators, where they're used to getting 10, 20,000 plus to do a post that may or may not pop off. And now we're working with thousands and thousands of creators that, it could be Sally in South Dakota. She's a mom of 3, but she knows how to convert to her audience, right? And she loves these brands, and she is committed to selling and creating content. And yes, as it's getting more mature, we're seeing that there's a hybrid model approach that's come out where top creators are looking for their commission rate plus a small retainer, but nowhere near the old days. So I think YouTube still, like, the creators also need to understand the value and the opportunity, the how much actually more money they can make if they do engage at this level versus just waiting for those $20,000 pops.
Yeah, I love the examples from so many brands where it's the most unexpected creator maybe creates the most viral video. I know Comfort has quite a few examples of these very, very, these individuals with small reach, at least from when they start, and then the product just goes completely off. Nish, from an outreach perspective, like, how did you guys go about, because it just seems like affiliate is such an important driver with the social selling. How'd you guys go about identifying who you wanted to work with at the start, and how's that evolved to today?
Well, we got kind of lucky because when we went viral organically first, we kind of met a bunch of creators that were performing really well for us that we've just kind of paid attention to keeping really close relationships with. And also, since then, I think what's really interesting is new creators are kind of popping up all the time. And the whole goal here is just to have truly one-on-one relationships with as many creators as possible. And so what's been really interesting about this is that the companies that are doing really well, the founders are actually have the relationship themselves with the top creators. And you kind of like bend over backwards to do whatever you can to try to even meet one of these creators because they're such a hot commodity. And so, even like me and my team, we are in the group chats with some of these folks where we are very specifically, like I had to deal with someone wanted $200 cash back. Okay, this is one of our top creators. And she didn't get paid on time. So I was like, oh my God, let me go fix this for you. It's like that kind of level of communication is happening at the founder level because these people feel like, okay, I have so much of a connection and I have so much of a integrity and just like tie to the brand because, the founder's talking to me. And so now they go and post about you again and again and again, and you're kind of giving them ideas nonstop about what to post. And that's kind of how this happens because these are people who are kind of like taking a bet at posting as many videos as possible and then something going viral. It's truly like a volume and just quality of relationship game. So we try to find, first of all, amazing people, and then once you find someone who really works, we basically do everything we can to keep them.
Will you forge relationships with them like in real life? Will you guys have them to your office and do things in person? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah. So we have like a very specific, take creators out for fun budget. So so like whatever it might be, whether it's taking them out for coffee or
Right.
taking them out for dinners, and so as much as we possibly can, we'll do that.
I think it's interesting whenever there's these new channels or mediums, products evolve around the medium to really how it will sell best. Maybe that's from how it sounds, the visual, maybe what the product is. Have you guys ever thought through, well, what will do well on TikTok, and should we create products that just like musicians will, they will create songs with, maybe they'll bring the hook early and so that it will go viral or maybe be a soundtrack on TikTok. Have you guys ever considered making TikTok specific or social specific products?
Yeah, so we actually, when we make a product, we don't really make a product for TikTok first because we don't want to be a TikTok first brand. But when we make a product, we think of whether the product is suitable or not for TikTok. So, for example, right now our Clear Protein is a very viral product on TikTok, but that's because it's so visually appealing. And so, when you mix it into water, it has this pink kind of illusion to it, and it's like very sparkly, and the way that you pour it is really fun, all that kind of stuff. So the packaging, the form factor, the way it mixes, the way people can consume it, and what you can do with the product is all what plays into it. We have another product that you can put directly into your tongue, so we took a bet on that one as an example. However, like a pure capsule product is harder to do. And so it's really about what visual effect and hook the product has, which allow us to kind of tailor the product towards TikTok. We think of it in that way.
And Lauren, I want to get to the affiliate stuff in a sec because I know that's been so important, but across shoppable videos, TikTok lives, there's, I think they're exploring auctions, which maybe we can get into in a little bit.
It's a thing now.
What are you seeing, and I'm sure it depends on the product and the category, but what are you seeing consistently perform best across, a large swath of sellers?
Yeah, I mean, beauty, there's a reason why beauty has been one of the number one categories, beauty and fashion. For all the reasons that Nish mentioned, it's very visual, great to demonstrate when you're thinking about fashion, which has a high return rate very often. What's wonderful about Alive is you're holding up those products with the different size models, right? And actually able to show them the stretch, how it's going to feel, what it's going to look like on the back, how that fabric falls. Obviously, when you're doing beauty, you're swatching those products, you're talking about it on different skin tones. So it's just a really visual way to be able to showcase these products and through content. So those categories are still huge. There is a a big push in food and beverage right now. We're seeing a lot of success there. Similarly, like watching people eat or hearing, the soda can crack open or the chip crunch, people like that. And so we're seeing that also being really effective.
Is it mostly shoppable videos? Is it the ads? Is it the TikTok lives? Like, what are you seeing there?
All of the above. I think so. One thing that you also mentioned was the hook. It's so important to find the hook, right, or hooks that are going to work. And so, it used to be that we just sent out products and hoped people would come back with great ideas. Now we send out products with some hook ideas that we believe in, and then we see what works, and then if we find ones that are doing really well, right? Like we are working with a beauty product, and this powder will ensure that nothing will come off your face, right? It's a blurring powder, and the creator did it with a glass of water on one side and not on the other to test if it would come off, and it was so visual, and it just worked. And then we sent that same hook out to other creators, and it got a lot of traction and had another litlittle viral moment.
Just all these PSYOP missions.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But even more than that now, we also, when Third acquired Orca, we also acquired a company called Sapphire Studios. It does performance creative, so UGC content as well, but specifically for paid. And they're using a very cool, in-depth AI product to scrape and find the hooks that are going to work best for every brand, so that we can then go in and have really, really detailed, scripted content, still real, not AI produced, but AI researched and developed.
So let's just call TikTok number one. Meta's exploring getting back in the space. YouTube, eBay has been doing rather well. Pinterest, Snapchat's been talking about things on and off. Which I think is a great thing, because that will also drive competition across the different platforms and at TikTok, and will continue to push TikTok to innovate. And then Whatnot. As you think through these options, and again, it might depend on the category, who are you finding yourself most often recommending as the number 2 platform for brands to start to evaluate?
It depends on the brand and what we're selling and what their goals are. I think Whatnot's a really exciting place if they're a fit for live shopping. I think traditionally Whatnot has been about, it started as peer-to-peer. I'm selling in my garage to you in your garage, right? They recently did get their Shopify integration, which is opening things up, and I know they're working on the ShipBob API, they told me, so that's exciting. So they're investing and growing well beyond just peer-to-peer individual sellers to bringing on brands. They're actually interested right now in SMBs between 1 and 20 million, just putting that out there, in fashion and jewelry. But I think if you're going to Whatnot, yes, do you have excess inventory? Do you have something that do you have a deep catalog of products? Are you down and interested to do the auction style, very fast sales? Then that could be a really great fit for you. However, if you want to really take the time and educate audiences and spend more time with the storytelling, and it's less about the really quick sales and that excitement of it all, YouTube might be a better place for storytelling. Amazon Lives, which are not about the live in the moment, they're about the post-live, right? They live on for 60 days. They're chopped up into ads that you can then run afterwards, but those are great for, hey, I have a new product release, new drop, new line, or I want to educate the audience about something exciting. And then eBay Live, I love working with them. They're excellent, and they're also really growing their tools and offers.
Let's stay on eBay for a sec, because they've obviously been around for so long. It's been pretty impressive to watch them try to innovate on this, and I know it started with some of the types of products that would do well, probably similar to Whatnot, where Whatnot was really building a lot of these Whatnot brands. So eBay was the people breaking card packs. But where are you seeing, let's say, more established brands? What types of companies are you seeing do well on eBay?
eBay, it is an older audience, and they have more money than, say, a Whatnot. So it's higher AOV, which is great. So electronics can do well there. Higher end, it's interesting, they're testing with skincare and beauty right now, but that's very new for their audience. But still collectibles, electronics, and higher price point items.
Okay.
You know, but I do think they're working hard to expand into new categories. We just did a stream with them, Meta, the Meta Vision Pro. What are those glasses? You know, that you put on? It crushed. I mean, it was a really great stream, and you know, so visual, so interactive.
On eBay.
Yeah, on eBay.
Meta's using eBay to sell versus their own platform.
I know.
Yeah, they should share that internally. Whatnot is pretty interesting. Again, if anybody wants to talk Whatnot afterwards with us, let us know. We do have some customers that are doing exceptionally well on there, and what's interesting that I found also is the units per order is often much higher, sometimes 2 to 3x what your D2C site is, and so even if the products, the AOV per unit is less, you will see the basket size increase because people are trying to accumulate a lot at once. Nish, it's interesting as you guys have done, so many brands would love to trade places with, I think, the success you've had on TikTok, and you continue to expand in physical retail, and then you're also finding ways to leverage TikTok to further supplement your retail success. So maybe just share a bit, like what does that retail expansion look like, and how are you leveraging TikTok to drive even more success there?
Yeah, so for us, the retail expansion is just about being omni-channel and having as much distribution as possible so people can find our products where we want them to find it. And so the strategy on retail was, okay, align ourselves with the retailers who are brand aligned and where we think, you know, our customer segment who we believe is like someone who's really aspirational and also has problems to solve, is shopping for these types of products and problems anyway. So it was an independent decision that we said, okay, we want to go into places like Target, Sprouts, Ulta, Walmart. Like these are places that we really want to go into. And so the first step was just kind of expanding the retail footprint, and we did that, you know, all 4 of those retailers back to back in about 6 months. But then what happens is, once you're in all those stores,
very fast.
it was very, very fast. It was very fast. And then after that, the next kind of step was, okay, you know, Array has a certain amount of brand awareness, but you really have to amp up the brand awareness the moment you're in that many different stores. And we said the fastest way to do that was really TikTok, because TikTok is such a good channel for just awareness, and you can create so many impressions on the platform so people know about it. And it's a really interesting thing because I think TikTok specifically just is a retail customer, and we've just noticed the halo effect from TikTok to retail be very specifically highly correlated, much more correlated than Meta spend or you know, any other channel spend essentially. So we kind of use TikTok to leverage as much halo into the retail channels, and for us now is more about, okay, the math behind how much can I spend on TikTok so that it drives retail velocity and also Amazon velocity to make the P&L make more sense, as opposed to anything else. And so we actually run TikTok unprofitably. I think a lot of companies do that. There's a couple of companies that run it profitably, but we run TikTok unprofitably to go make money in retail and Amazon.
And I do want to open up to some questions in the audience, and we don't have a timer, so I actually have no clue how much time we have left. But you have your team that's focused on performance marketing with TikTok, and then you also have a team that's focused more on the analytics side across the business. How do you, because a question we always, very often get is, you know, what is the best way for me to evolve like the org structure? And so curious how you ended up there and how you think about having them work together.
Yeah, so the TikTok team is very specifically focused on like TikTok related items, you know? So the things we talked about, which is like thinking about the hooks, working with the affiliates, like creating those connections, managing all the sales and campaigns that we drive all the time. It's like a different job on its own. Then they need direction as to what is allowed, what is not allowed. So for example, on TikTok, they're making decisions around what percentage of commission can I give the creators? How much can I discount a product? How much can I offer free shipping or not? Those are all things that are very data-driven things, because those numbers inform the P&L, which informs the amount of loss you can take on TikTok. But you need to have, okay, what is my kind of sales uplift index on Amazon and D2C to do that? Those questions are the data team and growth team's kind of questions. So they set the direction on what is allowed, and then the TikTok team will execute based on kind of some constraints around the numbers. But the actual execution of TikTok is an entirely different role, but they need to know what works for us. Otherwise, it's really easy to go kind of like really crazy and lose money really, really fast on the platform. Yeah.
That is great. Yeah, I think that's something a lot of brands will start to at least try to emulate more, especially as they spread across a lot of physical retail partners as well. All right, I think we have time for a couple questions. Yeah. So the first question was, have you seen an increase in costs for customer acquisition on TikTok?
Yes, we have. Yeah, for sure. Because I think, so we've had quite a few viral instances on TikTok. The very first one was completely organic. And it was just a matter of seeding and going viral. And we were able to see, honestly, anywhere between 5 to 8x ROI on ad spend, which is very, very efficient. Now, you're operating at like a 1 to 1.52x ad spend in order to go crazy viral again. So my point here is that, that's like a massive decrease in efficiency, and that's obviously because of how competitive the platform is, for sure.
Yeah, and I think it's maturing very quickly, but it is still very early. So it get on, like, no matter what, right? But I do think that it's more saturated in certain categories. So it's also interesting to see what category you're coming in at, because if it's beauty, you're gonna have to do a little bit more to stand out, and find those new customers. But if you're selling pool chlorine, there's probably a lot of opportunity, right? So I think it's early enough for everyone, but it is getting more saturated. There's more content hitting, which is why if you are going to play on TikTok Shop and build out a strategy, a lot of content needs to be part of that. Constant new content. It is not set it and forget it in any way, shape, or form.
And also what we've seen, and you guys can tell me if you disagree, is TikTok was kind of putting their thumb on the scale in 3 ways to drive a lot of the adoption. And so they were giving credits to the consumer to go buy, so they were artificially inflating conversion rates. They were giving full price to the brands for a while, even if they sold at a discount. So let's say your bloat pills are selling for $49.99. You could list it for $19.99. They'd still give you the full price, and so they're eating that delta. So people were able to buy. Not only did they have the credits, but they were also able to buy it for cheaper, which is artificially inflating the conversion rate. And they're actually incentivizing a lot of people on the fulfillment side, which I think had less to do with conversion rate, more just unit economics for the brands. And so they were doing that to drive a lot of adoption on both sides of the marketplace. And so for the sellers and the buyers. And so that's where I'm not sure if measuring ROAS historically versus in more recent times is maybe a fair comparison. And also, like you said, there's been a lot more competition in the space as well. Greg, you got a question? So to repeat the question, so overarching, how do you structure the TikTok team? And then the second is really beyond ROAS, do you look at MER and some of the other metrics for success? So yeah, Nish, if you want to go for it.
Yeah, for sure. So the team was not, it was built from scratch. And I think that, now you can definitely find people who've done TikTok a little bit, so you can find people with a little bit of that expertise, but it's also totally a skill that you can kind of learn and do from scratch. So a lot of the people on our team, they didn't maybe necessarily know TikTok from the go. We just were playing around with the platform so much that we kind of all learn it together, and then now they've become kind of experts at it. And from a team structure perspective, we have folks who are creator managers, so that's like your kind of underlying layer of everything that's really, really important. You can have a ratio of anywhere between, for your top creators, maybe 10 top creators per creator manager, but also your BCD layer creators. Some folks are managing like 300 creators per person. So it just depends on how you want to structure that a little bit. And so we have 2 creator managers and then also some part-time creator managers on top of that. And then we have someone who's actually overlooking the TikTok strategy. So that is kind of, okay, who to work with, how do my paid campaigns work, how do my TikTok-specific campaigns work, when do I want to enroll in different types of promos, and how does this play into the rest of this. And then from a profitability standpoint, I think it's just really important to, like I said, like have like a sales index, which is just understanding for every dollar that you spend on TikTok, how much of money are you getting back to other platforms. And so we use tools like, let's say, Workmagic or House to be able to kind of measure that incrementality. Workmagic, and you can use that to measure incrementality. Those are basically geo holdout tests, which just tell you, okay, you know, based on dollar spent over here, what kind of impact is it having across other areas in the business, and then you're able to put a number around that. I actually don't like being unprofitable on the platform, and I'm really working hard to not be. It's just very difficult to justify that when the halo is actually working. There's companies, by the way, that are profitable, and you've seen that happen, and they're, you know, but I've never seen like a super strong contribution margin on TikTok, and so it's still, even if they're profitable, it's usually pretty thin. But I would only recommend going unprofitable if you actually know that the math is working.
For our team, we do all social commerce soup to nuts, right? So we have teams within the team that handle the shoppable content. So the brand handles short form videos, the live shopping in our studio for the brand handles. We do a big affiliate team, so they're out there making sure that we're inviting 10,000 plus people into the program every month for their brand, and then figuring out the different tiers of those creators, getting the right commissions out to them, retainers if needed, really building out the whole strategy. We don't spray and pray with samples. It's very much targeted, as are the briefs that follow up. We've got a paid media team. We've got our shop and commerce operations team. So they're back there making sure that everything operationally is sound and smooth. It's actually a really critical part of success in social commerce, because if the product goes viral and then you don't have the inventory, you just missed out and you pissed off a lot of creators and consumers. So, you know, or if your shop score falls because your customer service wasn't there. So we cover all of those different pieces. When we're doing work in other platforms, sometimes we'll identify someone that's going to be more the expert over there. But we expect everyone at our company to know kind of all of what's going on, because it feeds into each other so much. Yeah. But I love that more and more brands are bringing this in-house or thinking about it. And I think that's great. I think whatever you're going to do, if you're just thinking about getting started on it, which I highly recommend, don't just like dip your toe in with having your social media manager try to now start and scale a brand new sales channel on a pretty complex platform. Like, build out a team internally, have a budget, or bring on someone like Third to help, right? And then maybe eventually it goes in-house. But there's a lot of
We used an agency first. Yeah. I think that's a really great strategy.
Yeah. You work with an agency, you learn, and then when you feel ready, you take it on, or you take parts of it on.
Yeah, well, very helpful. And it's so interesting too, like how you have obviously one person managing fewer of your top creators, and then cascading on down. And like you mentioned, reaching out to 10,000 plus creators or affiliates every month. That's a very large number. Well, really appreciate you guys joining us, Lauren, Nish. If you guys have more questions, they'll be here for the rest of the day. But yes, thank you guys very much.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.